North Wilkesboro Speedway once again hosted the NASCAR All-Star race as Joey Logano led a record 199 of 200 laps to win the $1 million in the 40th running of the All-Star race on Sunday night. Logano ran the entire race on softer red option tires and didn't use the more durable prime tires, with those having yellow letters at the repaved and revived Wilkes County track. Logano beat runner-up Denny Hamlin by 0.636 seconds, with Chris Buescher passing Kyle Larson for third on the next-to-last lap of the race. The All-Star win was the second for Logano in his 22 Ford. His first was in 2016. It was also the fifth for Team Penske, who won the All-Star race with Kurt Busch in 2010, Ryan Newman in 2002, and Ryan Blaney in 2022. Even though he won the All-Star race, Logano hasn't won a points-paying race so far this year in 13 tries. Here's Logano talking about what the win does for his team after dominating the All-Star race and more, courtesy of FS1.
Oh, man. How about that, Wilkesboro? That was awesome. What an incredible Shell Penzo Mustang. It was so fast. We came here and tested. We ran over 800 laps at the tire test. Paul really put me to work and really figured out what it's going to take to win the race. The boys executed a fantastic stop. Fantastic weekend. Great execution.
3 generations. Great job, brother. Great job.
And 3 generations of Loganos right here.
It's been a while, Jamie, since we've won a race, and I wish this one counted for points, but $1 million will work as well.
Logano was also asked on what he learned at the tire test and last Friday that gave his team the confidence that he can run as long as he did with the softer tire and more, also courtesy of FS1.
I wasn't so certain, right? We ran over 60 laps in practice, and the tires looked okay, and you don't know exactly what the strategy was going to be, but it's a total team win, right? Because it takes a strategy like we talked about. Obviously, it takes a fast car. It takes the execution. Then he gave me a run for my money. His short run was so fast, and my long run was so great, so I just had to battle him off. And when there's $1 million on the line, I think all the rules go out the window of clean. So I knew that was coming. I was trying to maintain that clean air. If I lost the clean air, we wouldn't have won the race. So we maintained it all day, and man, feels good. Feels great.
Larson, who swept the weekend at the historic 0.625 mile short track last year with his wins in the Craftsman Truck Series race and All-Star race, finished fourth. He wasn't at North Wilkesboro this year until the night of the All-Star race. Instead, he was at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, practicing and qualifying for the Indianapolis 500 there, and will start fifth. Larson plans to run the 500 and the Coca-Cola 600 at Charlotte Motor Speedway as part of the Memorial Day weekend double. Larson left Indy on a helicopter at 5:44 p.m. He then took a private Hendrick Motorsports plane to Wilkes County Airport and later took a short helicopter ride to nearby North Wilkesboro Speedway. Larson arrived at 7:15 with a loud applause from fans in the grandstands there. Due to him not qualifying his 5 car, because Kevin Harvick did that while Larson was in Indianapolis, Larson had to start the race in the back as a result of the driver change. When a planned caution came out on lap 151, Larson pitted for option tires that only were on his car for 1 green flag lap and moved up the field after restarting 10th. He was able to challenge Hamlin for second place, but fell back late. Here's Larson talking about his day, from running 230 miles per hour at Indy to racing at the short track at North Wilkesboro, and more, courtesy of FS1.
No, it was a fun day I'll definitely never forget. So, had a lot of fun and was able to get the hang of things, I felt like, pretty quickly. So I was happy with that. Thanks to Kevin for hopping in the car and getting the balance to a good spot. Thought we were going to be in a great position there. At the end, was able to pit for tires, save that reds or whatever, and had a great restart. Got to third really quickly, and thought I was just going to motor right by those guys, no problem. But our balance just wasn't very good there. We pumped the air up, and I was just sliding around, and then it was just getting looser as I went on the bottom half of the track. So I moved up, and then just slowly built tight and just not very good. So that was a bummer because when you pick off a bunch of cars on restart, you're on fresher tires, it's like, this is going to be easy, but it turns out it wasn't. So, but all in all, happy with the day between Indy and here and all that. To come away with the top 5 on basically a track I've never been to before. I know we've raced here last year, but I mean that raced way differently. So I'm proud of that and how quickly I was able to get up to speed.
Hamlin wasn't able to get by Logano for the win. Here's his thoughts on how he did and more. I needed more of an advantage to pass for sure, Hamlin said. I would run to him, and then you couldn't pass. I would lose a little bit of air there, and I would try to give my car a break and then run to him again. Just have to be so much faster to get around. Hats off to the track, NASCAR, and Goodyear for giving two tire choices a try. Hopefully we learned something here for future short tracks. The race started getting wild early on Sunday. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. went up the middle to create a three-wide situation in the middle of the pack and made Kyle Busch angry on the outside when the two cars made contact. Busch got back at Stenhouse on lap 2 and turned Stenhouse's Chevrolet into the outside wall, which ended Stenhouse's night as a result of that. Then Stenhouse drove his damaged car to pit road, parked it in Busch's stall, and showed his frustration to Busch's crew chief, Randall Burnett. After the race, Stenhouse let out that frustration in a short fistfight with Busch, which also involved crew members and Stenhouse's father, Ricky Sr. Stenhouse was fined $75,000 for the punch after the race, and his father was suspended indefinitely for violating NASCAR's code of conduct. 2 of Stenhouse's crew members were also suspended for multiple races. During the caution for Stenhouse's crash, 5 drivers, which were Logano, Tyler Reddick, Brad Keselowski, Buescher, and Blaney, stayed on the track for softer option tires, while the rest of the field went to pit road to put on primary tires. Logano did the right thing by staying out, which allowed him to keep his track position and to win the race. Logano's crew chief, Paul Wolfe, saw that the team was doing well on option tires, so he chose not to change them during a 100-lap halfway break. The rest of the top 10 was Blaney finishing 5th, his buddy Bubba Wallace 6th, Ross Chastain 7th, Chase Elliott 8th, Michael McDowell 9th, and Busch 10th. Toyota drivers Ty Gibbs and Wallace both advanced to the All-Star race by finishing 1-2 in the 100-lap All-Star Open. Gibbs dominated by leading every lap and won by 1.572 seconds in his 54 Camry over Wallace. He finished 13th in the main event. Wallace held off a hard-charging Josh Berry, who was 3rd in the Open, and Justin Haley was 4th. Noah Gragson was 5th, but made it into the All-Star race via the fan vote. He finished 11th. Other notable finishers included Martin Truex Jr. finishing 12th, Tyler Reddick 14th, Daniel Suarez 15th, Keselowski 16th, Christopher Bell 17th, and William Byron 19th, respectively. Congratulations to Joey Logano winning the All-Star race at North Wilkesboro. What a run for him, especially there to be able to dominate the way he did, leading almost every single lap of the race. And I knew that Ford wasn't going to continue to go a long time without winning, especially after Brad Keselowski's win at Darlington, which took 13 races for Ford to win a points-paying race in the Cup Series. Even though this wasn't a points-paying race, like Clint Boyer said, momentum is real, and Logano hasn't won a points-paying race in a long time since Atlanta in 2023, like last spring. So this was a big win for him there, especially. Definitely gives him confidence as well going for the rest of the year. Definitely you don't want to see a confident Joey Logano because that's a dangerous Joey Logano. I've always liked Joey Logano, even though a lot of people don't. But I enjoy how he is and all that, especially his personality and all that. He's very funny and always smiling. It kind of makes you smile as well. But definitely the way he's on the track, definitely he could rub people the wrong way. But I've always liked Joey Logano especially. So it was cool that he got to win, especially. At least it wasn't Denny Hamlin who won the race, though. But he still got booed after winning the race and all that. But definitely good for him that he got the win and all that. And he seems to always be winning events and new tracks especially. He won the Bristol Dirt Race in 2021 and as well as 2022 in the Clash at the LA Coliseum there. So he's known for winning a lot of new events, but definitely it was cool to be able to see him win the All-Star race and all that, especially to be able to do it at a track like North Wilkesboro especially. I talked about the race last year as well on my channel as well. I'll leave that in the description as well. So definitely it was fun to be able to see the All-Star race back in North Wilkesboro again. Definitely, it wasn't as fun as like I said last year as well when I said that in my Crash the Truck Series video as well. The last video I did, I said the same thing as there as well. I'll leave that video in the description as well there for you guys to check out if you're interested as well. But yeah, definitely it was fun still because it was still like North Wilkesboro and all that to be able to see the All-Star race back there again especially. But definitely it felt like more like a regular All-Star event, especially how last year there was so much excitement because of how long it had been since they last ran there in the Cup Series as well and all that. But especially there was more of a celebration last year, especially with the throwback and all that as well, especially seeing like drivers like Eric Jones have the throwback SCP to Richard Petty, Kevin Harvick bringing back the 29 in that race as well. So that race was such a big deal, especially for NASCAR and all that as well, especially how quickly it got sold out too last year. It was such an awesome event to be able to watch, especially how be able to see North Wilkesboro at night for the first time live ever as well. Especially how back then there was no lights when they ran at North Wilkesboro back in 96 either. So definitely it was pretty awesome how it was there then as well like that. But definitely this year, like I said, felt like a regular All-Star event. But they will be back though in 2025 next year there, especially May 18, 2025. And it was reflected by how the logo is for next year as well to see that it looks more like a regular all-star event compared to how it was this year, being more of a throwback look to it. And even last year's logo as well. Just tells you how big of a deal it was that the All-Star race came back to North Wilkesboro and all that this year, especially how it was last year. But the fact that NASCAR returned to North Wilkesboro Jeddah was pretty awesome there as well. But especially, like I said in my Crash and Truck Series video also, eventually it's going to just start feeling like a regular event. And that's reflected in the logo as well. So eventually that's how it's going to be. But North Wilkesboro Speedway will always be awesome. I'm never going to take that for granted that they're back in NASCAR and hosting races and all that. I'm always going to be able to enjoy that. But definitely normally I don't even talk about the All-Star race. I made an exception last year and this year because of the fact that it's in North Wilkesboro and it was such a big deal that they ended up racing NASCAR in the Cup Series back there as well. But I don't think I'm going to keep talking about the All-Star race moving forward, especially because the All-Star race is just, it's a nice event, but it's not really something noteworthy to talk about. I like mostly talking about like points paying races or races that had like significance, like with winners that hadn't won in a while or first time winners depending on the situation, all that as well, tracks or news. But also races have never really been something that I like talking about because the fact that it's not that exciting to talk about in my opinion in a video that I do, but I still enjoy watching it on TV and talking about it with people since it's still NASCAR obviously. But definitely like the fact that North Wilkesboro ended up hosting it again this year and last year being that first time that they came back in all the years. That's why I figured I wanted to talk about it. But definitely, I don't see myself doing that moving forward. But I wanted to at least talk about this one because it's definitely you see the differences between this year and last year, especially with obviously with the repave and all that as well there as well. But definitely it was just like I said, it was still awesome, but it was actually a better race than what it was last year, especially better racing because Kyle Larson provided a big ass kicking last year there in North Wilkesboro. But this year was much more competitive as far as the gap is concerned. But as far as the domination, obviously Logano dominated like the race, like I said. But congratulations again to him on doing that. But definitely, like I enjoyed it this year too, just to be able to see the difference of the repave and all that, especially. But definitely, it was a very rainy weekend there in North Wilkesboro, especially with the heat races canceled and the Crash with Truck Series race moved from Saturday to Sunday because of a lot of rain and all that. But I'm glad that the All-Star race was still able to be held that night, especially not postponed because of how the weather was looking for that weekend, especially. But at least they were able to finish the Crash with Truck Series race on Sunday as well as the Cup race that night. But they did move it back a little bit later, half an hour almost there, especially because of the fact that Kyle Larson was still at Indianapolis getting ready to qualify for the 500 and all that. So they accommodated him for him to come later. That way he had a chance to make the race. So that was nice out of NASCAR for them to do that. Shout out to NASCAR for doing that because they didn't have to do that. But obviously Kyle Larson drives ratings and all that, especially. It's definitely better for the sport whenever he's in the race as well, especially giving him a chance to win and all that. And he ran well in the race, especially. But definitely he eventually ran out of time there late in the race, especially with the tires and all that, especially gave out. But he had a great run there, especially, but came close to defending the win. But just came up a little bit short there at the end. But that'd be cool for him to at least get NASCAR do that and to let him run and all that. But definitely, how crazy was that fight, especially between Kyle Busch and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Especially had been brewing for a while, especially how Kyle Busch has talked about like how Stenhouse isn't really that like good of a driver and all that. And he's not wrong. But for Stenhouse to be able to talk and say, oh, Kyle Busch doesn't run good anymore and all that. Obviously, Busch has been struggling this year, but I don't think he's done as far as like winning races. I think he can still do it. He's just been on a slump right now. But I think Busch will get a chance to win again. But Stenhouse, what is he there to talk about? He was a bust in the Cup Series pretty much. Especially, he didn't live up to expectations that he had in the Nationwide Series, winning back-to-back championships when he was driving for Roush Fenway Racing, now known as the Xfinity Series. So who is he to be talking like that, especially because he hasn't like had the success in his career that he was expected to be. But definitely, it is what it is there, especially. But still, that was still a pretty awesome fight. But definitely, you got a lot of people talking about it as well, especially why Kyle Busch and said I was doing that and all that. But it was that noteworthy of a fight that it was even mentioned on the Michael Kay show by Peter Rosenberg and all that. But definitely, Busch is still the better driver, and I think he'll still be fine. But I don't know about Stenhouse, though. But like I said, it is what it is there. But definitely got attention from Chase Elliott going to Charlotte Speedway, why NASCAR would promote that, especially how they ended up finding like Stenhouse and all that, especially in his crew members being suspended as well as his father. So I get where Elliott was coming from there, especially you don't like the fact that they did the fight, but yet NASCAR promotes it. So it is what it is there, especially there too. But definitely, I say congratulations to Joey Logano winning the All-Star race and all that in North Wilkesboro. Pretty cool that they came back, especially like I said and all that. So definitely it was pretty awesome there as well. But definitely, like I said, with the rain and all that, putting a damper. But still, like I said, it was still like awesome to see the All-Star race back and all that as well. But hopefully there'll be a points-paying race back in North Wilkesboro as well, because that would be pretty awesome there for that to happen. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to leave a like. And if you are brand new, subscribe. And we'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.